audience, I welcome you to these, my golden royal gardens of my home. Before we start, I'd like, if time consents, to say a word or two on that dramatic work which follows this. As king, I find myself proposed by high on greater majesty to govern and adjudicate the law and people with a righteous hand. Mine has been no easy task. I often struggle to maintain my interest in boring, routine tales of deaf wives, pregnant mistresses, and other personal calamities. No, the case which interests my modest intellect the most is that concerning falsehood, trickery, and sly detective work. The case which let me exercise my modest wit the most was that of cruel Tartuffe, a double-dealing fraudster, hypocrite, capturing Tartuffe, unmasking all his sordid crimes was tricky, I confess, and yet it gave me what I proudly call my greatest royal moment. I have charged these actors with the task of reconstructing Tartuffe's final fall, and so I turn to stage and stagecraft as a means to share with each of you the greatest golden moment of my humble, happy reign.
Come on, Tartuffe, let's go. I can't stay here. Why are you in such a rush? We can't keep up. Let's leave me here. Don't go another step. I'm sure I never asked for all this stuff.
We know our duty, and I think we'll do it. But what is it that's made you run away like this?
Oh, I can't stand all the turmoil in this house. No one cares a button for my feelings. It's been a most unedifying visit. Nobody listens to a word I say. There's no respect. Everyone shouts at once. Right? So, a frightful parliament of apes. You girl are nothing but a maid with far too much to say and most of that impertinent. We don't need your opinion.
Yes, but
there's a word for you, my boy. Buffoon. Yes, I'm your grandmother and I should know. And if I've told your father once, I've told him 100 times I think you're a bad lot who'll never bring him anything but heartache. I think, good Lord, the quiet one's found her voice. Sweetness and light, the sister meek and mild. Well, still waters run deep, they always say, and deep down you're as bad as all the rest.
Oh, but Mum!
Now, dear, don't take this amiss, but everything you do is simply wrong. You ought to set these to a good example, like their late mother never failed to do. You spend too much. I must say, it upsets me to see you going round dressed like a princess. A woman who wants just to please her husband has no business parading like a clothes horse.
Oh. But after all,
and as for you, it's not that I don't like you or respect you. But if I were my son's wife, even if you were my brother, you'd be barred the house, spouting your endless theories about life, which no one in their right mind would accept. Perhaps I've been too frank. But I'm like that. I never could conceal what's on my mind.
I'm sure your Monsieur Tartuffe would...
He's a good man, and must be listened to. And if I have to hear a fool like you attacking him, I may get very cross.
Some sanctimonious faker seizes power, and I'm supposed to lie back and enjoy it. And no one is allowed the simplest pleasure without permission from this turkey cock.
If pleasure's anything to go by, you move and you commit a mortal sin.
His beady critic's eyes watching you, and everything he watches must be watched. He's trying to lead you up the path to heaven, and my son ought to force you all to love him.
No. Listen to me, grandmother. No father, no anyone could make me wish him well. If I said otherwise, I would be lying. The way he carries on infuriates me. There's only one way out of this, I tell you. I and that peasant can't but come to blows.
You can't deny it's scandalous to see a stranger taking over here, a beggar who, when he came, had nothing on his feet, and whose whole wardrobe wasn't worth a fiver, going so far as to forget his place, lording it over us and finding fault.
My goodness me, you'd all be better off if you submitted to his pious will.
You have this fantasy that he's a saint, when everything he does proves he's a fraud.
Be quiet.
I need a written guarantee before I trust him or his man, Laurent.
I can't vouch for his friend. But, Tartuffe, you have my guarantee he's a good man. The only thing you object to is that his criticisms are all true. What angers him is your sinfulness. His sole criterion is what's good for heaven.
I know, but why, especially recently, has he been so very down on visitors? He makes so much fuss it gives you a headache. What harm's a courtesy visit do to heaven? You want my explanation? Keep it quiet. But I'm convinced he's jealous of your friend.
You shut up! And let someone speak. He's not the only one who disapproves. It's all a fuss your visitors bring with them. Carriages always blocking up the gate. But quantities of servants milling about, making a noise and upsetting the neighbours. I'm willing to believe nothing goes on, but people talk, and that's to be avoided.
And how do you propose to stop them talking? Life would be pretty miserable if, for fear of what some imbecile might say, you had to give up all your closest friends. And even if you did decide to do that, do you think you'd put a stop to all the rumour? There's no defence against malicious talk, so let's pay no attention to it, please. Let's all just live as blamelessly as we can manage and leave the gossips to say what they like.
I know who runs us down behind our backs. It's Daphne, next door, and the dwarf, her husband. They're always the most ludicrously guilty of the first in line accusing others. They never miss an opportunity to batten on the slightest hint of friendship, twist it to suit their purposes, and then gleefully spread the news to everyone. They think they justify their own misconduct by painting others' deeds in lurid colours and hope in vain to whitewash their intrigues, or to sidestep the general condemnation which weighs them down and redistribute it.
Your arguments are quite irrelevant. Orange, who's well known for her model life and pious dedication, says I hear she strongly disapproves of your salon. Well,
she's a fine example, I must say. She may personify austerity, but what inspires her zeal is called old age. She's virtuous because she has no choice. As long as she was still at all attractive, she made the most of everything she had. But now the sparkle in her eye is dimmed. She's registering withdrawal from the world before it casts her off, and trying to hide the sorry remnants of her faded beauty behind an ornate veil of good behaviour. These are the standard wiles of ageing flirts. It's hard for them to watch their beaux disperse, and so the only outlet for their suffering is to take virtue up professionally. They disapprove of everybody's life, not from benevolence, but spurred by envy. They just can't tolerate the thought of pleasures which the onset of age denies to them.
you all enjoy these fairy tales, I see. In your house, no one gets a word in edgeways because of Madam holding forth all day. Well, now I've got my chance to speak at last, and I'm telling you, the wisest thing my son has ever done is to install Tartuffe, whom God has sent here, just when he was needed, to save your souls when you had gone astray. Listen to what he says. It's for your good, and everything he condemns deserves condemning. These visitors, these dances, these discussions, all of them inventions of the devil. You never hear a word about religion, just idle chatter, songs, that sort of nonsense. As often as not, demolishing your neighbours and spreading scandal left and right until sensible people's heads are spinning with it. Dozens of rumours whipped up out of nothing. And as a friend of mine, theologist, put it so pithily. How the Pharaoh babbles once again, and he went. I don't know what he's sniggering at. Go to the silence. I'll say no more. Goodbye, my dear. I take a very poor view of all this. You won't be seeing me for quite some time. Hey, wait up. Don't gawk at me. My goodness me, I'll box your ears. Get on with you.
Oh, no good. I'm staying put. I don't want her to start on me again. Silly old...
What a shame she isn't here to comment on your turn of phrase. I know. I told you you're the one who's being silly. That no one could ever call her
She got annoyed for no good reason. She seems quite besotted with Tartuffe.
promise you, her son is even worse. And if you saw him, you would be appalled. During the troubles, he was very brave, enhanced his reputation with the king. But ever since he's fallen for Tartuffe, he's gone around like someone in a daze. He loves the man 100 times as much as his wife, his son, his daughter, or his mother. He calls him brother, whispers all his secrets to him alone, and has appointed him the watchful overseer of his conduct. He pampers him, caresses him. I'd say you couldn't be more loving to a mistress. He sits him at the top end of the table, enjoys watching him eat enough for 6. You have to serve him all the tastiest bits. And even when he burps, he says, God bless you. In short, he's mad about him. He's his hero, his everything, admired in every way and quoted on all possible occasions. His slightest action is miraculous, and every word is like an oracle. Fact is, he's a man who's got a victim and knows how to exploit and dazzle him with every bogus swindle in the book. He wheedles money when he feels like it, by turning on his sanctimonious tongue, and doesn't hesitate to pick on us. Even his servant orders us about, gives himself airs and preaches wild-eyed sermons, and throws away our rouge and beauty spots. The other day, the brute found my lace bib between 2 pages of the Lives of the Saints, and ripped it up, saying it was a crime to stain what's holy with the devil's quill.
You're very wise to have stayed here. You missed her lecture at the gate. My husband's here. He hasn't seen me, and I'd rather wait for him upstairs.
I'll wait and catch him here. I've really only time to say hello.
Ask him about my sister's wedding, will you? I have a feeling Tartuffe is against it and forcing him to make these long delays. It's important to me as well, you know. My sister loves Valère and he loves her. But as you know, I'm in love with his sister, and if I...
Coming!
Leon! Hello! I was just on my way. I'm glad I caught you. Nothing much out yet, is there, in the country?
Doreen, you must excuse me just a minute. You don't mind if I find out what's been happening? Put my mind at rest. Everything fine? What's everybody up to? Are they well?
2 days ago, the mistress had a fever. A strange nagging headache all day long.
And Tartuffe?
Tartuffe's in the best of health. Big, fat and blooming with his nice red mouth.
Oh, boy.
She got quite nauseous all evening. She couldn't touch a mouthful of her dinner. Her headache was so painful.
And Tartuffe?
He sat in front of her and ate alone, and swallowing most religiously a brace of partridge, swallowed by a leg of mutton.
Oh, boy.
She didn't get to sleep all night. She had hot flushes which kept her awake. We had to sit up with her till the dawn.
And Tartuffe?
He was struck down by a pleasantly weary feeling and repaired directly from the table to his room, where he collapsed into his nice warm bed and slumbered dreamlessly till the morning.
Oh, boy.
We finally persuaded her to be bled. She felt better at once.
And Tartuffe?
Put his bravest face on it, and bracing himself against the blows of fate, to make up for the blood the mistress lost, drank 4 large tumblers full of wine for breakfast.
Oh, boy.
At any rate, they're now quite well. I must go upstairs and tell the mistress how interested you've been in her recovery.
Oh, boy.
She's making fun of you. You must have noticed them. Well, I don't want to make you angry, but to be frank, it's no more than you deserved. I've never heard of such grotesque behavior. How can this man have cast a spell on you and made you oblivious to everyone else? So that, as well as saving him from poverty, you've gone as far as to take...
Quite enough. How can you talk about him? You don't know him.
Well, certainly I don't know him, but to guess the kind of man he is, you
No,
only have to...
you'd be captivated by him, and your ecstasy would know no bounds. You see, this is a man who... Well, a man, in fact... Well, to sum up... a man! You listen to him and you enjoy the deepest peace of mind. You see the world for what it is. A dunghill. Oh, yes. I've quite changed under his instruction. He teaches me to cast aside affection and clear my mind of any trace of love. Now I can watch my mother or my brother, my wife and children die and not give that.
I see. He's a humanitarian.
You'd only been there when we met. You'd feel as warm towards him as idol. He'd arrive every day in church and kneel meekly right next to me, and never fail to capture the whole congregation's notice with the fervor of his praise. He'd groan and sigh and throw himself around and humbly kiss the ground time and again. And when I left, he'd hurry on ahead to hand me the holy water. His servant, who was like his mirror image, told me about him, who he was, his poverty. I gave him money, but restrained as ever, he always tried to give some back to me. Too much, he said. I don't need half this much. What makes you think I should deserve your pity? And when I refused, he tried to go and share it with the poor in front of me. Well, eventually I was inspired to bring him here, since when it seems that all of us he disapproves of everything and keeps a very close watch on my wife. Just to protect my honor. Gives me the names of all the people who smile at her and make eyes at her. Oh, he's much more jealous than I've ever been. You've no idea. The fervor of the man. He sees the slightest failing as a sin. He's scandalized by what we'd hardly notice. Recently, he was full of self-reproach for having caught a flea while he was praying and killed it with excessive savagery.
What is it? Are you making fun of me? You must be mad. You think it's pantomime?
Oh! Now what you're saying smacks of atheism.
Oh.
You're tainted with it. And if I've told you once, I've told you 50 times. That's the best way to get yourself into quite serious trouble.
I know. That's what you people always say. You want us all to be as blind as you are. Good eyesight's a sign of atheism. Anyone who doesn't worship idols has no respect and no religious faith. Well, nothing you say can frighten me. God sees into my heart, and I know what I mean. You can't make me a slave of affectation. Well, false piety is as common as false courage. And just as on the battlefield you find it, those who make the most noise are not the truly brave, the truly pious, whose example we should follow. Not those who pull the holiest faces. Can it be true you don't make a distinction between hypocrisy and piety? You really pass them both together. Respect the mask as highly as the face. Consider sham the equal of sincerity. Use appearance and reality, and value a ghost as much as someone living. Order is no less than genuine coin. Men are peculiar creatures, some of them. They never seem to hit the happy medium. Reason's too limited, they burst its bounds, and what's most admirable is ruined through sheer excess and exaggeration. I only thought I'd mention this in passing.
You're a most distinguished genius. A repository of universal knowledge. Uniquely brilliant and uniquely wise. An oracle. A Cato of our time compared to whom the rest of us are.
No! I am not a most distinguished genius. Repository of universal knowledge, but there's one thing I do know how to do. And that's how to tell the difference between true and false. And whilst there's no one I approve of more than genuinely religious men, nothing nobler or more uplifting in the world than the enthusiasm of true belief. Equally, there's nothing more disgraceful than specious fervor laid on with a trowel. No one worse than those downright impostors, those worshippers in public, whose deceit, sacrilegious antics go unpunished while they pervert and make a mockery of everything human beings hold most sacred. Those career mystics, businessmen on their knees, trying to notch up credit and prestige by screwing up their eyes and throwing fists. Those abnormally zealous ones, I mean, chasing their fortunes via the road to heaven. Space adjustable to fit their vices, who are disloyal, fleet, vindictive, cunning. And when the time comes to destroy an enemy, can brazenly disguise their fierce resentments behind a cover of what's good for heaven. Doubly dangerous because the weapons they use against us in their bitterness are so respected, and because the passion for which they are genuinely admired aims at our hearts a consecrated sword. Well, this faking is becoming far too common. Meanwhile, our age shows us very often glorious examples of true piety, easily recognizable as such. Look at Aristide, look at Periander, Aron, Alcidamas, Polydor, just about his virtue or display such intolerable pride. Their faith is flexible and humane. They're not censorious, because that would display an arrogance that rather leads to others. If they reproach us, then it's through their actions. They don't judge by appearance. Instead, their inclinations to think well of others. They don't form cliques, and they disapprove of plotting. Their aim is to live righteously. They show no animosity towards sinners, and no urge to pursue the church's interest any fiercer than it would itself. They're the ones I approve of. That's the way. That's the example one should set oneself. Frankly, your man is quite another species. I'm sure you sing his praises in good faith, but I believe you're blinded by mere show.
Is that all?
Yes?
Then perhaps you would excuse me.
Oh, wait! Just one moment. I'll change the subject. You've promised Valère your daughter's hand.
Yes,
And you'd even set the date.
that's right.
Then why have you postponed the wedding?
I have no idea.
Have you perhaps changed your mind?
Possibly.
I can't possibly imagine what could prevent you from honoring your promise.
Well, it depends.
Well, Valère has asked me to see you about it.
Oh, that is nothing.
What am I to tell him?
You tell him what you like.
I have to know what you have in mind. What are your plans?
Do God's will.
Be serious, will you? Valère has had your promise. Will you keep it?
Goodbye.
I fear the worst for his engagement. I have to warn him what's going on.
That private struggle is the best. And that you mustn't comment on the rest. But then to keep your fire shining if struggles are not worth a single bit. Just to realize this simple truth and find this life is true. Otherwise, your friends crime. So as to win their friends, if your comrades near and just equal acts of sin,
And so we urge you not to hold your tongue and claim that highest anathemas of love, and say that love is Savior praise in heart, the pain of Happy promised land, happy promised
Yes, Father. I'd like a word with you in private.
What's in there?
Nothing. I'm only saying there's nobody there. I wouldn't like it to be overheard. No, nobody there. Well, Marianne, I've always appreciated your obedience, and you've always been very dear.
I'm very grateful, Father, that you love me.
Well said, my dear. And if I were to continue, your only worry need be to provide me with what I want.
I take a pride in it.
Good. What do you think of our guest, Tartuffe?
Me?
You? Now, be careful what you say.
Oh, dear. Well, I'll say anything you like.
Oh, how very sensible. Well then, my dear, why don't you say that you find him wholly excellent? He's reached your heart, and it would make you very happy if I agreed to let him marry you. What is it?
Sorry,
What?
I don't think I caught what you said.
What can you mean?
Who is it you wanted me to say had reached my heart? And it would make me happy if you agreed to let me marry who?
Tartuffe!
Oh! But look, it wouldn't, not at all. Why should you want to make me tell a lie?
What I want is for it to be the truth. That's my assurance. How much more do you need?
You mean you want me?
Yes, I intend to make Tartuffe a member of the family. He is going to be your husband. And since I have the power to insist... Oh, what is he doing? Eavesdropping again? Suffering from chronic curiosity?
I heard somebody mentioning this marriage, and I couldn't decide if it was rumour with some basis in fact or pure invention. The one obvious thing was that it was nonsense.
You find it unbelievable.
So much so I wouldn't believe it even if you had told me.
I think I know a way to make it.
No, I know, you're telling us a fairy story.
I'm telling you exactly what will happen.
Rubbish.
No, this is serious, Nadia.
Get on with you. Your father doesn't mean it, he's joking.
Will you listen?
No, sorry, we don't believe you.
I'm starting to get annoyed.
All right, we do believe you then. In which case, shame on you. You look quite normal with that big bogey in the middle of your face. Yet, you are mad enough to let your daughter go off with...
Listen, you've taken certain liberties today, which I don't like. One little bit. I warn you.
Oh, let's try and keep our temper, shall we, sir? I still think this is some elaborate joke. Your daughter isn't cut out for a bigot.
His power through voluntary renunciation, his pure indifference to temporal things, and his commitment to eternity. Now, I intend to provide him with some means, free him from want, and reacquire his land. Property is highly thought of where he comes from. Even as he stands, it's obvious he's a gentleman.
So he keeps saying. And that kind of pride doesn't quite fit with his religiousness. You wouldn't think a man who chose sainthood would need to boast about his name and rank. The self-effacing rules of piety hardly accommodate rampant ambition.
of his vanity! This is upsetting you. Let's leave his background and talk about his personality. Could you really, without the least remorse, hand a girl like her to a man like him? Can't you foresee how such a marriage would turn out? Have you no sense of decency? If you force any girl to take a husband against her will, you are gambling with her virtue. She may intend to lead a life of honour, but it all depends on who you've chosen for her. And those whose wives are famously unfaithful have often driven them to that condition. And after all, it's quite hard to be faithful to certain husbands cast in a certain mould, and anyone who gives a girl away to a man she can't stand is answerable before God for whatever she might do. So think what danger your plan puts you in.
Do I need her to teach me how to live?
If you've got any sense, you'll listen to me.
Let us not waste our time, dear, on this nonsense. I am your father, and I know what's best. It's true I had promised you to the mayor, but he's been seen more than once playing cards. And I suspect he may be a free thinker. I haven't seen a lot of him in church.
Why should he go exactly when you do? He's not like others, just there to be seen.
I don't need your opinion. All I know is heaven smiles on Tartuffe, and that's an asset second to none. This marriage will provide your wildest dreams. You'll live together in a series of sweet pleasures, like two turtle doves, faithfully in love, like two true children. You'll never quarrel. And you'll find you can turn him into anything you please.
A cuckold, for example. That's all she'll want to turn him into.
Shut up!
It's written all over him. It's in his stars. Not all your daughter's virtue could resist it.
Will you stop interrupting me? Shut up. Keep your nose out of other people's business.
I'm only trying to help.
But don't. Be quiet.
It's only because we love you.
I don't want to be loved.
Even so, I want to love you.
Ah!
I see your reputation as important to me. I hate to see you lay yourself open to general ridicule.
Shut up!
How can I let you contract such a marriage in all conscience?
Will you be quiet, Stay?
I thought you were supposed to be religious.
So I am! All this jabber is making my blood boil, and I insist you hold your tongue.
Certainly. I won't say another word. But you can't stop me thinking.
Think what you like. Just concentrate on not speaking to me. Or Enough. After mature consideration, in my deepest wisdom.
It's infuriating not to be allowed to speak.
Even though not exactly very pretty, Tartuffe is...
Off the side of Notre Dame.
Even if you could find no sympathy for all his gifts.
This is your lucky day. If I was in her place, I am telling you, no man would marry me against my will, or soon after the wedding he'll find out there's one way women can revenge themselves.
I see! You just ignored what I said.
What's the matter? Speaking to you.
What are you?
Talking to myself. I see.
I've never heard such insolence. She deserves a good smack. And here it comes. my the husband I have chosen for you is... Well, speak up.
I have nothing else to say.
Surely there's something.
No, don't you like it?
But I've been waiting.
You think I'm a fool?
Well, anyway, I insist on your complete obedience and your acceptance of my choice.
Oh, these things, Mr. Charleston!
That girl's a pest. I can't put up with her without surrendering to sinful rage. I really can't go on with our discussion. Her insolence has goaded me to frenzy. I need some air to calm me down a bit.
Have you gone in his cupboard?
Well, have you lost your tongue? Am I supposed to play your part in all this? How can you let someone propose this idiotic plan without saying a single word against it?
What could I say? A father's power is absolute.
Anything to stave off a threat like this? What? Tell him you can't love at second hand. Tell him you're marrying for your sake, not his. Since you're the centre of attention here, it's you, not him, your husband must appeal to. And if he thinks Tartuffe is so attractive, he's quite welcome to marry him himself.
I've never had the strength to raise a protest against father's authority, I admit.
Just a minute. Valère has made his move. Tell me, do you love him or do you not?
How can you be so unfair to my love, Doreen? How can you ask such a question? Haven't I always confided in you and told you 50 times how much I love him?
How do I know if all that was true? And whether you feel genuinely about him?
Doreen, it's very wrong of you to doubt it. You know I've never hidden my true feelings.
So then, you love him?
Yes. Passionately.
By all appearances, he loves you too?
I think he does.
And you're both most impatient to get married?
Yes, we are.
So what do you plan to do about this business?
If they force me, I'm going to kill myself!
That's wonderful. I thought of that. Of course, if you die, you'll avoid all these problems. What a brilliant way out! It makes me angry to have to listen to this kind of talk.
They need to get in a huff, Doreen. You have no sympathy for people's suffering.
I have no sympathy for empty threats all crumbling without putting up a fight.
Well, what do you expect? I can't help being timid.
Perseverance should be part of love.
And I have persevered. I love Valère. Isn't it up to him to win my hand from father?
What? When father is this clown who's utterly besotted with Tartuffe and breaks his firm agreement on the marriage, you think the blame should be put on Valère?
Would it be right to show by flat refusal or wild defiance how much I'm in love? However fine he is, should I abandon my sex's modesty, my daughter's duty? Do you think I should publicise my love?
No, I wouldn't want that. Now I see. You want to marry Tartuffe after all. And now I stop to think I was quite wrong to try to dissuade you. What right had I to quarrel with your wishes? No, he's the most eligible match, is that Monsieur Tartuffe. Oh no, he's nothing to be sneezed at, is he? I mean, you can't deny Monsieur Tartuffe's a man who knows his backside from his elbow. To be his better half, there's no small honour. He's generally admired. He's a good bird. Or at least he says he is. Sort of well-built. Those red ears and that nice, florid face. The only danger is that you'll be too happy.
No, God!
Can you imagine the elation to be the wife of such a handsome man?
Oh, stop it, please, and find some way to help. I give up now. I'll do whatever you say.
No, daughter must obey her father, even if he wants to marry her to an ape. Oh, you're very lucky. Why are you complaining? Oh, you'll take the coach back to his little town. You meet all his uncles and his cousins. You're sure to enjoy their conversation. You'll be taken to all the best addresses and welcomed there by all the dignitaries. The bailiff's wife. The wife of the JP. They'll get out their spare canvas chair for you. Then there's the village fete to look forward to. There'll be a ball with a great orchestra consisting of a pair of bagpipers. And as a special treat, an organ grinder. And those amusing Punch and Judy shows.
Oh, I like
And if you're hungry...
Do you want to kill me? Bet if you can find some way to help.
No, you mustn't ask me that.
Oh, please, Doreen.
No, it must go ahead. You deserve it.
Doreen.
No.
Well, I told you.
Nothing doing. Tartuffe's your man. You won't escape him now.
You know, I've always told you everything. Now help me.
No. You're going to be, Tartuffe.
I see. Well, since you're unmoved by my fate, you'd best abandon me to my despair and let it be my ready consolation. I know there's one sure way out of my troubles.
Right, come back. I'll try not to be angry. In spite of everything, I can't help feeling sorry for you.
I'm about to undergo this cruel martyrdom, you see, Doreen. I know it's going to be the death of me.
Don't worry. I'm sure there's some clever way. There's Valera himself.
I've just heard the most extraordinary piece of news.
What's that?
That you are marrying Tartuffe.
It's true my father wants me to.
Your father?
Has changed his mind. He's just this minute told me.
What? Seriously?
Yes. Seriously. He seemed determined I should marry him.
And what do you intend to do now?
I don't know.
Well, there's an honest answer. You don't know?
No. What's your advice?
Oh, my advice is to accept.
That's your advice?
It is?
You mean it?
Certainly I mean it. It's a handsome offer, well worth your attention.
Well then, I'd better follow your advice.
I don't think that'd be too hard for you.
No harder than it was for you to give it.
I did so with the hope of giving pleasure.
Suppose I shall now follow it to please you.
Well, let's see how they get out of this.
Is this what love is? Or was it just deceit? When you...
I'd rather not discuss that, please. You said quite openly that I should marry the husband I've been offered. I'm announcing I intend to do so, following your excellent advice.
You shouldn't use my stand as an excuse. You'd already decided, and now you're grasping at this silly pretext to justify breaking your word.
It's true. You put it very well.
I'm sure. You never really loved me.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Yes, I am entitled, and I may manage to forestall your plan by taking my proposal somewhere else.
I wouldn't be surprised. You're so good looking.
God! Let's leave my looks out of it, shall we? They can't be that good as you just yourself demonstrated. But there is somebody who feels kindly for me, and now I'm free. Wouldn't be ashamed to remedy my loss.
Your loss seems far from great. I'm sure you'll have no difficulty finding consolation.
You may be confident I'll do my best. Being abandoned puts us on our mettle. We must make every effort to forget the person who's responsible, and even if we can't quite succeed, we must pretend to. To show oneself in love with someone faithless will be the most unpardonable weakness.
What an exalted, lofty sentence.
I don't think anyone could disapprove. I suppose you'll think I should keep my love for you alive, burning endlessly, watching you fall into somebody else's arms, without the right to find some new allegiance for the heart you've rejected.
Not at all. That sounds the best idea. I wish you'd done it already. Is that what you wish? It is right!
I'm not staying here to be insulted. I'll do you a good turn by leaving.
Fine.
You should at least remember that it is you who's driving me to this extreme.
I will.
And that this plan is only following your example.
Following my example? Yes.
Well, that's enough. I'm leaving, like you said.
I'm pleased to hear it.
This time it's for good.
Did you say something? You're imagining things.
Right then. I'm off. Goodbye.
Have you gone off your head? I've left you this long just to see how far you'd go. Hey, Monsieur Valère!
What do you want, Doreen?
Here.
No, listen. It's what she wants. It's no try and talk me out of it. Stop. Listen, it's all settled.
Can't bear the sight of me. He's only leaving because I'm here. I'd better go instead.
Oh, God, where are you off Come back!
No, Doreen, it's no good.
I see my presence is a torment to her. The best course is to free her of it now.
Yes, what, again? No! Damn if I'm going to let you! Stop this nonsense and come here, both of you. What do you want? I'm trying to bring you together and get you out of this. You gone mad to start this kind of row?
Did you hear the way she spoke to me?
You? Have you gone mad, losing your temper?
Did you see the way he treated me?
Oh, you're both as stupid as each other. All she wants is to be yours. I know that's true. He loves no one but you. All he wants is to marry you. I stake my life on it.
Well, then, why did you give me that advice?
Why did you ask for it? I'd like to know.
You are both mad. Here, each give me a hand. Come on.
My hand? What for?
And you as well.
What use will that be?
Oh, God, come here. You love each other far more than you think.
Don't be so grudging. Give us a friendly look.
Of course, his well-known lovers are quite mad.
Don't you think I had some grounds for complaint? You must admit, it wasn't very nice to take such pleasure in upsetting me.
Aren't you the most ungrateful man alive?
Oh, can we leave this discussion and concentrate on fending off this wedding?
Tell us what we should do.
Try everything. Your father can't be serious with all this nonsense. All the same, you should react to his ravings by giving an impression of consent, so that in an emergency it'd be easier to spin out the engagement. The key thing in all this is playing for time. You could develop sudden illnesses to cause delay, or come across bad omens. An argument with someone who's then died. A broken mirror. Dreams of muddy water. The main thing is that he can't marry you to him or to anyone till you say I do. Also, I'd say to be on the safe side, it's an idea not to be seen together. But don't waste time and get your friends to keep pressurising him to keep his promise to you. We must get your stepmother on our side and ask her brother to keep trying. Bye.
Oh. To tell the truth, whatever we may try, it's you I'm counting on.
Well, I can't answer for what my father wants, but I know I'll never belong to anyone but you.
Oh, that's a great comfort, Marianne. So whatever
Lovers can't get enough of all this blather. Now, will you go?
Just one thing.
No more chat! Now, you go this way, and you go that. Oh.
How sweet to hold your heart with tenderness, to fly in gentle passion as the dove to woo.
With lovers' lusty flame,
To tease
sentimental
games. But then there comes a point when love becomes a clinging, nosy, eating, rotten club as Marianne
and her valet
found out. Such fools
Things are not what love's
about. A true love is that of will and do, although you may find marriage with a beau is not.
what you had hoped.
Now take Tartuffe, the man
Rotting under
Orgon's roof. He may not be a beauty or a star, but it is such as they should never fall, an ugly
on soul confining
love. How else fit the glove? And so we urge you not to act from heart and claim that love has pierced you with its dart, but choose the greater love of Benedict, the death for romance. Simply do not think. Simply do not think.
I deserve to be struck dead on the spot and treated like a miserable nothing unless I come up with some brilliant idea. And when I do, no power on earth will stop me.
Oh, please, there's no need to exaggerate. It's only a suggestion of your father's. Not every resolution's carried out. There's many a slip.
I must scotch this swine's plot. There's 2 words I must whisper in his ear.
Now, take it easy. Let your stepmother deal with him as she is dealing with your father. She has some kind of influence on Tartuffe. She can say what she likes, and he's always indulgent. Perhaps he'd even snip with her. Oh, to God he is. That would be fun. In fact, she's summoned him here on your behalf. She wants to sound him out about this marriage that's worrying you so much. She wants to explain to him the difficulties it would cause if he was to encourage this idea. His servant says he can't see him. Praying. But he also told me he'll be down soon, so please go now and let me wait for him.
Why can't I just be here while they're talking?
No, they must be alone.
I wouldn't say a word to him.
You're joking. We all know what a short fuse you're on. That's just the way to ruin everything. Now, off we go.
No. I can watch without losing my temper.
Oh, you're so annoying. Go on. Here he comes.
my hair girdler on, please. Put it away next to my purse. And I want you to pray for heaven's eternal guidance. If there are visitors, tell them I'll be at the prison distributing what few small coins I have.
Posturing humbug.
Yes, what do you want?
To tell you...
Oh, my goodness, just a moment before you say another word. Take this.
What for?
Cover your breasts.
Oh!
I shouldn't have to be exposed to them. That kind of thing does damage to the soul and can give rise to guilty thoughts.
You're very vulnerable to temptation. I didn't realise that flesh made such a big impression on your senses. I can't see why you should get over it, Lottie. I mean, I'm not so easy to arouse. For instance, I could look at you, stark naked, and not be tempted by a single inch.
If you don't show a little modesty, I shall be obliged to leave you.
No, you won't. It's me who's going, so you can calm down. What I have to say is this. Madame is on her way. She'd like a word.
By all means.
That's cheered him up. I think I might be right.
Won't you be long?
I think that's her now. Yes, it is. I'll leave you to it.
May God, in all his infinite kindness, grant you perpetual health in body and in soul, and bless you. That's his humblest suppliant's prayer.
I'm very grateful for your pious wishes. Sit down. Let's make ourselves more comfortable.
I hope you've quite recovered from your illness.
Oh, yes, thank you. The fever didn't last.
My prayers are scarcely worthy of attracting grace from on high, but I must say their sole object has been your speedy convalescence.
I really think you show too much desire for my welfare.
Your health is very precious to me. To bring it back, I would sacrifice my own.
That's taking Christian charity to its limit. I do appreciate your kindness, really.
I do far less for you than you deserve.
I've been wanting to have a talk with you in private. I'm glad that we're alone together here.
Yes, I'm delighted. It is such a pleasure to be alone with you for the first time. An opportunity I have often prayed for.
I thought we might just have a conversation in which you'd feel you might confide in me.
And I want nothing better than the chance, the privilege of bearing my soul to you and assuring you that the protests I made against your visitors were nothing personal. They were prompted by my zeal and by an impulse to...
So I assumed I know my welfare was your main concern.
Of course it was, and such was my desire.
Oh! What's that?
I never meant to hurt you. It's just over-eagerness. Much rather.
What are you doing?
Feeling your dress. Isn't it velvety?
I'm very tickled.
Oh, what workmanship! It's wonderful the things they do these days, my word. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm sure. But let's get back to the point. I've heard my husband wants to break his promise and give his daughter to you. Is that true?
He mentioned something about it. Quite frankly, that's not the happiness I am pining for. All my desires are concentrated on a different set of wonderful attractions.
You mean you have no time for earthly matters?
My heart is not entirely made of stone.
I know. Your aspirations are towards heaven. But down here, nothing can distract your will.
The love we feel for the eternal beauties doesn't preclude a love for what is temporal, and our senses can easily succumb under the spell of God's perfect creations. His glories are reflected in your sex, but in your case, it's more than that. He's revealed his rarest wonders, and lavished such beauties on you. We're dazzled, we're carried away, and I can't look at you, you perfect creature, without admiring the Almighty in you. Oh! Struck to the heart with blazing love in front of God's loveliest self-portrait. Oh, at first, I was afraid this secret passion was a cunning subterfuge of the Prince of Darkness, and even determined to avoid you, thinking you might jeopardize my salvation. But finally, I realized, my sweet beauty, that in such a feeling, there could be no guilt. It could be reconciled with purity, and that's when I surrendered myself to it. I confess it's
very bold of me to offer you my love like this, but I'm relying wholly on your kindness rather than my own unworthiness. My well-being, my peace of mind are in your hands. My suffering or my bliss depend on you, and only you can make me happy or unhappy just as you choose!
Well, that's a very gallant declaration. To be honest, somewhat unexpected. It seems to me you ought to have, reflected. And held back from such a step. A man whose reputation as a saint...
Oh, why should a saint be any less human? Confronted with your heavenly attractions, a man just gives way. How can you reflect? It may seem strange for me to say such things, madam, but after all, I'm not an angel. And if my declaration is blameworthy, the real culprit is your enchanting beauty. Ever since I first saw its superhuman, radiant quality, you have ruled my heart. The indescribable tenderness of your divine expression broke down. My resistance overcame all my fasting, prayers, and weeping, and concentrated all my hopes on you. I'm only voicing what you yourself must have guessed when I so often looked at you and sighed. If you could bring yourself to show some favor to your unworthy servant's tribulations, if you would deign to stoop down to my level and offer me relief. Delicious prodigy, I guarantee my eternal unparalleled devotion. Your reputation would be safe with me. You'd run no risk of notoriety. These libertines the ladies so admire at court are ostentatious and loud-mouthed, always bragging of conquests, of whose favors no detail is too intimate to reveal. Their indiscretions and abuse of trust degrade the very object of their worship. Among us, and how to keep it permanently. Our own concern for our good character is a guarantee for those we love. Once you've given way, you'll find that we offer love without scandal, pleasure without fear.
I've heard you out now, and your eloquence is unambiguous enough, I think. But I'm afraid that I might decide to tell my husband about your proposal, and that if he heard of your hopes, it might do damage to his friendship for you.
I know you're too generous for that, and that you will forgive my recklessness. The violence of a passion which offends you, you will exonerate as a human weakness. And bearing in mind your looks, you must admit that I'm not blind, and men are flesh and blood.
Oh! Others might take another line, perhaps, but I prefer to exercise discretion. I shall say nothing to this to my husband, but in return, I'd like something from you. I want you to support quite openly, and without beating around the bush, Valère's marriage to Marianne, and to give up your unfair influence and your desire to enrich yourself with someone else.
No, no! Everyone must know about this. I was in there and I heard everything. It's as if heaven led me there to crush the hubris of a treacherous enemy. Give me the potential for revenge against his insolent hypocrisy, the means to disabuse my father and expose this monster's attempt to seduce you.
No, dummy!
Father, this should cheer you up. Something's just happened which may startle you. It's a reward for all your kindness. Acknowledged to you by this man with fat payment.
He's just been showing his great love for you. Which doesn't even draw the line at making a cuckold of you. I just caught him here, making a proposition to your wife. You know her gentleness and her discretion. She wanted very much to keep it a secret from you, but I just can't indulge his shamelessness. I think it would be quite wrong of me not to tell you.
It's true. I don't think one should ever disturb a husband's peace of mind for trivial reasons. Honor is not affected. It's enough that we should know how to defend ourselves. That's how I feel. And if I'd had the slightest influence over you, you would have kept quiet.
Nice. Can it be possible what they say? I am guilty. Sinner, sunken in iniquity.
The greatest criminal that ever lived! Each second of my life is stained with filth! It's one huge, seething, rubbish heap of vice, and heaven's clearly seized upon this chance to humiliate me! I wouldn't have the arrogance to deny whatever sin it is that I'm accused of. So, fury, I believe what they say and throw me out on the streets like some delinquent. However great the shame you pile upon me, it couldn't be as much as I
You wretch! How dare you fabricate this lie and try to blot his purity and virtue?
You mean this hypocritical surrender would make
be
you...
quiet, you little pest!
No, let him speak! It's wrong of you to blame him. You do better to believe what he says. Why should you favor me in this dispute? After all, how do you know what I might not be capable of? Do you trust me, a show? You think I'm better just because I seem so? No, you're letting yourself be tricked by appearances, and I am sorry to say, I am not all the man I'm thought to be. Everyone takes me for a good man, but the simple truth is, I am entirely worthless. Come on, my boy, speak up. Call me a traitor, a thief, a murderer, a degenerate, and trust me with violent names. I won't deny them, and on my knees, I welcome this disgrace in expiation of my life of crime.
You go too far! Aren't you ashamed, you wretch?
I can't believe you
Oh,
would...
be quiet, you gallows bird! Get up. Scum!
Maybe
Shut up.
if you would
If you say one more word, I'll break your arms.
For God's sake, brother, please don't lose your temper. I'd rather suffer any punishment than see him.
Take a scratch.
Upstart!
Let him be. If necessary, I'll ask you to forgive him on my knees.
You can't be serious. See how kind he is, you lost.
If you would just...
Silence! I said silence! I know your motives for attacking him. All of you hate him. And I've had to watch my wife, my children, and my servants hound him. No method is too brazen when it comes to turning this good person from my house. But the more you try to get rid of him, the better ways I'll find to keep him here. And to annihilate my family's arrogance. I'm going to give my daughter to him soon.
You mean You're going to force her to accept his hand.
Yes, you wretch! And to spite you this very evening. I defy you all. I'm going to teach you that I'm in charge here, and I'll be obeyed. So, take back what you said this minute, liar. Down on your knees and ask him to forgive you.
Me ask this unscrupulous thing.
So, you refuse, and you insult him. Stick! Bring me my stick! No! You let go! Out of my house, and don't you dare come back.
All right! All right! I'm leaving!
Get out now! I hereby disinherit you, scumbag! What a way to insult a man of God!
Oh, Lord, forgive me. Trespasses against me. Oh. If you only knew how much it hurts when people try to blacken me in your eyes. My heart, so heavy. I can't speak. This will be the death of me.
Oh, you louse! I'm sorry I restrained myself just now. I should have knocked you senseless. No! Calm down.
It is time we put an end to these dissensions. I know I've been a cause of trouble here. I can see no alternative to my leaving.
You can't be serious.
They hate me here. They're trying to make you doubt my integrity.
So what? You think I'm going to listen to them?
They won't give up their attacking, that's for sure. And accusations which you now reject are bound to take their toll eventually.
Impossible.
Brother, you know a wife can easily delude a husband.
No!
If I were to leave here forthwith, they'd have no grounds for these attacks. So let me.
Oh, you might stay. My life depends on it.
Well, in that case, I'll have to sacrifice myself. And yet, we'll say no. I know what's necessary. Honor. Fragile plant. And our friendship obliges me to prevent this rumor and suspicion by avoiding your wife. I won't be seen.
You'll spend time with her. My greatest pleasure is to see them angry. I want you to be seen with her constantly. And that's not all. To show them what I think, I'll make you my sole heir. And waste no time in handing over all my worldly goods. You're my friend. You will be my son-in-law. Dearer to me by far than my own son, my wife, or my relations. Won't you please accept my offer?
Well, God's will be done.
Boy. Come on. Let's go. And draft the papers. And let that jealous lot gag on their own spite.
Please have this opportunity to give you my opinion. In a few words, I don't suppose to get into the details. Forget all that. Let's assume the worst. Suppose Dammy has behaved badly and falsely accused you. Would it not be Christian to overlook the sin and suppress any desire for vengeance? Ought you to allow a son to be driven out of his father's house because of with you? I tell you frankly, I repeat, people of every class are shocked by this. If you take my advice, you'll make peace here and not let matters be pushed to extremes. Forget your anger. Offer it up to God and reconcile a father with his son.
far as I'm concerned, I'd like nothing better. I would do anything I could for him. I forgive him. I don't blame him at all. But, from God's point of view, it's just not on. When he comes back, I shall have to leave. After his unprecedented behavior, any contact between us would invite scandal. God knows what might be inferred. I'd be accused of pure expedience. And everyone would say that out of guilt I was pretending to forgive my enemy, and that I was afraid of him, and that I hoped I could in some clandestine way pay for his silence.
These are just so many specious excuses. Your reasoning is far too tortuous. Why should you fret about God's point of view? Does he need your help to chastise the guilty? Even to wreak his own revenges. He tells us to forgive sinners, remember? And not to take account of human judgments when following his sovereign commands. This weak concern for what people might think surely can't be allowed to override the majesty of doing good. No, let's follow God's commandments every time and not concern ourselves with other concepts.
I've already told you that I forgive him, and therefore I am following God's commandments. But after this scandal and today's insults, there's no commandment that I have to live with him.
And is there a commandment that says you should acquiesce in this mad whim of his father's and accept this gift to you of a fortune on which justice must tell you there's no claim?
Those who know me would never dream of thinking that this is a result of my self-seeking. The riches of this world have very little appeal to me. I'm not one to be dazzled by their illusory glow. And if Orgon wants me to have this gift and I decide to take it, it can only be because, to be honest, otherwise I'd be worried. In case all that money were to fall into the wrong hands and end up with people who'd use their share for evil purposes rather than keeping it, as I intend to, for God's glory and the welfare of my neighbor.
Oh, spare yourself these dainty inhibitions which are offensive to the rightful heir. Let him come into his inheritance at his own risk. And don't distress yourself. Just think, better for him to squander it than for you to be charged with cheating him. I'm only startled you seem to be quite unembarrassed by this proposition. I mean, is there some old religious maxim that says, thou shalt plunder the legitimate heir? And if God really has implanted in you this inability to live with dummy which can't be overcome, would it not be better to show discretion and withdraw? To allow this quite unreasonable hounding out of a son on your account. Now that would be a sign of character.
You must excuse me now. It's 3:30 and I'm required upstairs for certain religious duties. Much as I hate to leave you.
Please, sir, help us to help her. She's in a dreadful state. This agreement her father's fixed up for this evening has driven her to despair. Oh, look, here he comes. Let's try our best, by cunning or brute force, to frustrate this abominable plan.
Oh, good. I'm glad I found you all together. Now, here is something which should raise a smile. This contract. You must know what it's about.
Oh, God knows how painful this is. And for his sake, by anything that's capable of touching your heart, relax your father's rights a little. Exempt my love from having to obey you. Don't impose this harsh law and so reduce me to wish to God that I were not your daughter. And please, don't ruin my life for me. Father, this life you gave me. If you must forbid me to belong to the man I love, and what hopes I've been allowed to cherish, at least, I beg you on my knees, be kind, and don't condemn me to belong to a man I loathe. Don't exercise your power on me and drive me to do something desperate.
Oh, come on. Steel yourself. No human weakness.
I have nothing against your feeling for him. Display it all you like. Give him your money, and if that's not enough, And mine as well. Agree happily, it's yours. But can't you draw the line at offering him my body? Let me use up my sad remaining days in the austere enclosure of a convent.
I see. You're one of these who turns religious at the first setback to your amorous plans. While on your feet, the more repulsive you find him, the more improving it will be for you. Let this marriage mortify your senses. Now that's enough. I don't want any more nagging.
Back!
Shut up! Don't you dare speak. I utterly forbid it.
If you'd allow one word of advice.
Yes, your advice. Always well argued. And something I do value greatly. So you won't mind if this time I ignore it.
I don't know what to say about this. I'm staggered by your blindness. You must be infatuated and obsessed with it to overlook what happened here today.
Seeing's believing. With all due respect. And I know how indulgent you are towards my son and how you refuse or were afraid to correct him when he tried playing that trick on the ball boy. Oh, you were too calm to be believable. You should have been a great deal more upset.
Need we react quite so ferociously when someone just declares his love for us? Our blazing eyes and spitting out insults the only possible response to it? My way is just to laugh at these approaches. I get no pleasure out of melodrama. No! I think we should be calm and sensible. But I've no time for those rampaging fools whose virtues bred in tooth and claw and who would crush your eyes out at the first excuse. Heaven preserve us from such faces. Yes! I'm for integrity without truishness. I think a chilly and discreet refusal is as effective a rebuff as any.
Well, I know my mind, and I'm not changing it.
Oh! Again, I'm staggered by this curious weakness. But, how would it affect your unbelief if I could show you we were telling the truth?
Show me?
Yes.
Rubbish.
Suppose I were to prove it beyond any doubt.
Absurd.
Oh, what a man! Won't you answer me at least? I don't ask you to take our word for it. Suppose we found a place somewhere around here where you could see and hear quite clearly. Then what would you have to say about this good man?
Well, in that case, I'd say... No, I'd say nothing because it couldn't happen.
Oh, this delusion has lasted far too long, and I'm tired of being accused of lying. High time I gave myself the satisfaction of showing you everything we've said is true.
All right. I'll accept you at your word. Let's see.
Bring him here to me.
He's cunning. He may not be so easy to catch out.
Oh, in love, deceit is easy. Vanity leads people to prove themselves. Bring him downstairs, and you two better go. Let's do this tape. You get underneath.
What?
It's quite important you're well hidden.
But why underneath this tape?
Oh my God! Do what you're told! I have my plan, you'll see. Come on, get under there. And when you're there, keep quiet and make sure you can't be seen.
I must say this is all very silly. But I can't wait to see you prove your point.
I don't believe you'll have any complaints. You, mustn't be surprised if I sound strange or be at all shocked. Remember, I have promised to convince you it must be given free rein. I shall... Since I'm reduced to this hypocrite, to take his mask off
and I shall encourage his insolent desires and stimulate his restlessness. Since all this is for you, this pretense of responding to him with the intention of fooling him, I'll only stop it when you acknowledge you were wrong. So things will only go as far as you allow them. It's up to you to interrupt his ardor when you consider they've gone far enough. Protect your wife. Don't expose me to any more than you need to be convinced. It's your business. You're in charge. And, oh, here he comes. Stay there and mind he doesn't see you.
Told you asked to see me in this room.
Yes. There's a secret I must tell you. But before I do, would you please close the door and make sure no one's likely to surprise us? I wouldn't want a repeat of what just happened for anything. Oh, no! I've never been so shocked. Dummy gave me a dreadful fright on your behalf, and as you saw, I did my best to calm him down and frustrate his intentions. It's true, I was so worried it never occurred to me to contradict his story, but thank God. For that very reason, things turned out much better and less dangerous. Your reputation soon dispelled the storm. My husband couldn't think badly of you, and to show his contempt for crude suspicion, he now wants us to spend lots of time together. And that's why I can be alone with you here, without any fear of being judged. And what allows me to reveal to you what I should perhaps keep back a little longer, then I'm prepared to entertain your truth.
I'm not quite sure I follow you, madam. Just now you gave a very different answer.
Oh. Well, you must know very little about women.
Yes.
You're no good at interpreting what's meant by an obviously weak sense. On these occasions, modesty is bound to be in conflict with our tender feelings. However right yielding to love may feel, it's always slightly shaded to admit it. At first, we fight against it. With the way we show the side of our syringe. Our voice, for virtue's sake, protesting feebly against our instinct, gives the kind of no that promises everything. Well now, that's a pretty damning confession. I haven't paid much heed to modesty, but since it's in the open now, at last, would I have tried so hard to silence dummy? I ask. Would I have listened so quietly to that long declaration of your love? Would I have taken it the way I did unless something about it gave me pleasure? And when I tried to blackmail you myself not to accept this newly arranged wedding, what did my urge suggest to you? If not that you now meant a lot to me, and that this supposed marriage would have set you, by at the very least making me share a love I wanted for myself alone.
Such words, such a lovely mouth is exquisitely pleasurable, madam. Their honey sends unprecedented sweetness flowing in long draughts through my entire system. My main concern is to be fortunate enough to please you, and my greatest blessing will be to fulfill your desires. But forgive me if I take the liberty of casting some small doubt on my good fortune. What you say might be a straightforward trick to make me break off this impending marriage. And, to be brutally honest, I shan't trust these delicious suggestions you have made until I get a taste of what I crave. To reassure me there's been no mistake and instill in me lasting confidence in just how generous you intend to be.
Surely you don't have to be quite so fast and exhaust all the possibilities in one go. To make such a confession to you practically kills me. Now I find it not enough for you. You mean you won't be satisfied until this thing has gone as far as it can go?
An undeserving man can never quite rely on hope and conversations. Not a firm basis for love. It's all too easy to have one's doubts about a glorious future. Once I've enjoyed it, then I'll believe it. You see, I don't think I deserve your kindness. I can't accept my boldness has paid off. I won't accept it, not until you find some realistic method to convince me.
My God! Now you're behaving like a tyrant! Plunging me into strange confusion. Your love, faith, passion that is wrong. Your desires for violence and demanding. Is there no way out? Won't you give a girl a breathing space? Is it right to make such mercilessly rigorous demands and take advantage so insistently of this weakness you know I have?
But why, if you approve of my advances, refuse me the definitive credentials?
How can I agree to what you want without, as you would say, offending God?
God is all you're worrying about. Leave it to me to deal with that problem. You mustn't let that hold you back at all.
We're always told we must fear heaven's
I
judgment.
can dispel these ludicrous alarms. I know the art of freeing inhibitions. It's true that certain pleasures are forbidden by God, but there are ways of getting round this. Depending on one's needs, there is a method of settling the purity of our intentions against the evil of the deed itself. I'll explain this mystery some other time. All you have to do is what I came to tell you. Don't be afraid to fulfill my desires. I'll be responsible for everything, madam, and take the sin upon myself. It's a bad one.
Yes, it's misery.
Perhaps it would help to suck on a piece of licorice.
I don't think it would help much.
Anyway, I can easily remove your scruples. It will be completely secret, I can assure you. The only evil is to make a great noise about things here. What constitutes the offense is public scandal. Sinning in silence is no sin at all.
All right! I see there is no alternative but to submit. I don't want to go this far, and I do it against my better judgment. All the same, if you insist on making me won't believe in my assurances and need more palpable corroboration. I must grit my teeth and try to keep you happy, and if agreeing to it is a crime, so much the worse for the man who's behind it. What will you do? It won't be my fault.
Yes, you leave it to me, madam. I think that's your fun. What do you think?
Just take that door with you and make sure my husband isn't in the gallery.
Don't worry about him. Between ourselves, he's very easy to manipulate. He loves it when we spend time together. I've got him, so he wouldn't believe it, even if he saw it.
Really good look around out there.
You were right. What an appalling man. I can't believe it. Such a shock.
What? Already? There must be some mistake. Get back under the table early. Wait till he's finished. To be on the safe side, I don't think you should make unfair assumptions.
Worse than any devil out of
Nothing can stop me from being happy now. I've checked all around. See? There's no one! My
Slow down! You're letting your desire run rampant. I wouldn't let yourself get too excited. So, my good man, you thought you could deceive me? When you decided to give in to temptation, no one could say you do the thing by halves. Marrying my daughter? Lusting for my wife? I couldn't believe it was really happening. I kept waiting for you to change your tune. But I think now, we've had quite enough proof. I'm satisfied in my mind. That's all I need.
I did all this against my better judgment. I could think of no alternative.
You mean you think... Oh, please, let's have no fuss. Take yourself off without further ado.
But I never meant...
There's no point in all this. Will you? This minute, get out of my house.
Because it's my house now, and it won't do you the slightest good to grow up these cheap excuses. I have a way of punishing imposters. Avenging this insult to God, and making people who try to throw me out repent.
What shall I do?
What does he mean?
This could be serious.
Why?
I fear that deed of gift was a mistake.
What deed of gift?
It's all sign, I'm afraid. But something else he said disturbs me more. I'll explain. But first of all, let's see if that attaché case is still upstairs.
you off to?
I wish I knew.
It seems to me the first thing we must do is to discuss the possibility.
Right, that's the most important thing. More important than all the rest.
Is what's in the attaché case a secret?
Argus, a friend of mine, was in trouble. Left it with me in strictest confidence. Sought me out before he fled abroad. From what he said, I gather it contained essential private and financial papers.
Why did you hand it over to Tartuffe?
To ease my conscience, I went straight to him, straight up, and confided in him. He persuaded me to give the case to him on the grounds that if anybody asked, I could deny I had it and still keep my conscience clear of any perjury.
I'd say things is black for you. And to be frank, this indiscretion and the deed of gift were undertaken by you far too lightly. You've put yourself in pawn to him, and since he does have such great power over you, invoking him was desperately unwise. You ought to have tried harder to placate him.
But who could imagine such a devout facade could hide such double-dealing wickedness? I think I took him in when he had nothing. Well, he's the last religious man I'll trust. In future, I'll recoil from letting horror and never miss a chance to be their scared.
Oh, not another of your tantrums, please. You don't know what a happy medium is. Your reason never coincides with reason. You always lurch from one excess to another. You realize your mistake, that you were duped by a false piety. But what's the point of trying to make up for it by falling into an even bigger trap and not seeing the difference between men of honor and this detestable degenerate? Just because one thief has with his veneer of hypocritical austerity brazenly cheated you, you then assume that everyone is like that and genuinely religious people don't exist today. Leave senseless thoughts like that away from you. Learn to distinguish virtue and its semblance. If possible, don't fall for hypocrites, but equally, don't attack true devotion. And can't help going to extremes. Better to make the same mistake again.
Is it true that this wretch is threatening you, Father, and forgetting all your kindness to him, and with vile, infuriating pride, he's turned your generosity against you?
Yes, my son, and I never suffered so much. Leave it to me.
I'm going to cut off his ears. There's no point holding back against that kind of shamelessness. Yes, I'll get you out of this. There's only one answer. I'll beat his head in.
The voice of youth. Now, will you please calm down? We're living in an age and in a kingdom where violence never future.
What's these dreadful rumors?
Unprecedented things which I have seen. The rewards of my generosity. I take a poor man in most willingly. I put him up and treat him like my brother. I load him with new blessings every day. I offer him my daughter and my money, and all the while this criminal, this pig, nurtures a black plot to seduce my wife. And not even content with that disgrace, he dares to threaten me with my own gifts, and wants to use the weapons with which my foolish kindness has armed him to destroy me, to take the money I transferred to him, and bring me down to what he was, a beggar.
Poor boy. My dear, I really can't believe you did something so wicked.
What did you say?
People are always jealous of a really good man.
What can you mean?
This is a strange household. It's well known how much he's hated.
Hated? Well, what's that to do with what I've just been saying?
When you were a little boy, I told you 50 times. In this world, virtue is always persecuted. The envious may die, but envy never.
But what's this with what's just happened?
I expect they've made up all sorts of stories.
I've just explained my story for.
There's nothing so ingenious as a gossip.
I'll swing for you yet. Will you listen? I saw him do these wicked things myself.
There's always poison spread by idle tongues. No one on earth can get away from that.
This conversation is ridiculous. I saw him. You understand? I saw him. Saw him. With my own eyes. What I did is described as seeing. How many more times must I repeat myself? Must I shout myself hoarse?
Appearances deceive as often as not. You mustn't always go by what you see.
And to suppose the urge to kiss my wife has some religious motive?
It's as well not to accuse people without just cause. You should have waited till they clearly turned.
Good God! Was there a way to be more certain? I should have waited till in front of me. No, you'll make me say things I regret.
No, he's too pure, too much in love with virtue. I simply cannot bring myself to believe he could do the things you accuse him of.
You're making me so. I just don't know what I would say if you weren't my mother.
That's the way it goes, sir, and it serves you right. You was listening, neither will he. Get off me.
We're wasting time. We're wasting time with all this nonsense, which we should be using to draw up some plans. These are real threats. We can't afford a dream.
You really think he'd dare to see them through?
Oh, he wouldn't have the face to bring deceiving. He would be just as blatantly ungrateful.
I wouldn't bank on it. He'll work out ways to justify his handiwork against you. I should feel caught in a labyrinth once the religious clique is down there. And on less evidence. And as I said, knowing his power, I should provoke him.
You're right. How could I help it? How could I confront his arrogance?
I wish there was some way of building a negotiated settlement between them.
If I'd known he was so well armed against us, I'd never have given him fresh.
What does that man want? Let's go and ask. A visitor. Just now. Good afternoon, dear sister. May I speak to Mr. Forknall?
Yes, company. Without accusing anyone right now.
I'm not here to make a business, my friend. You won't regret my visit. I'm here to do him a good turn.
What name is it?
Oh, just tell him I'm here. It's for his own good on Monsieur Tartuffe's behalf.
It's quite polite. He said he's here on Monsieur Tartuffe's behalf. He isn't doing you a favour.
Perhaps he's come to beg his help. How ought I to behave?
Don't show your anger. And if he talks to me, you must listen to him.
Get in.
How do you do, sir? May God protect you from your enemies and grant you all I would wish you. Well, that's a good start. I think it does imply it's I've always been devoted to your family, sir. I was once in your father's service. Sir! I'm ashamed to admit, and you must forgive me, but I don't know who you are or what your name is. My name is Loyal. I am from Normandy, and I hold the most respected post of bailiff. For 40 years I have been so fortunate, thank God, to carry out my duties with honor. And I'm here with your permission, sir, to serve you with this ring. You mean you've come? Yes, let's not have a scene, sir. All I have here is this summons, this eviction order, which says that you must forthwith, without further delay, remove yourself, your family, your effects. What? Get out? Me? Yes, sir, if you don't mind, sir, you must surely be aware that there is no doubt that at this very time, this house here belongs to our revered Monsieur Tartuffe by virtue of a contract legally drawn up in contest where he has command over all of your properties. And I will serve you with this ring, sir. But have you got anything else? No, sir. But, sir, yes. I know you wouldn't want to make a fuss, and you'll let me do my duty here, sir.
You've got a nerve.
I don't have to deal with you, sir. This is Mr. Orgon's business, and he is a reasonable chap who would not stand in the face of justice. Yes, sir, but you wouldn't want to ever play up, sir, and you will allow me to carry out my orders here.
You are going the right way to feel my stick laid right across your black gown, Monsieur Bailiff.
Tell your son to shut up or go away. I would hate to have to make reference to this in my report.
You're loyal. He's not very well named.
I have always been well disposed to men of goodwill. That's the very reason I volunteered for this particular job. To comfort you, to help you out, and to make sure they didn't send another man who, lacking my personal sympathy for you, might have treated the whole matter less respectfully.
Pray, what is so respectful about turning people out?
You'll have plenty of time. I shall suspend the execution of the writ. Oh, and I shall need to spend the night here with about 10 of my men. There'll be no noise and no trouble. And just one other thing. Before you go to bed tonight, sir, it's only a formality, tea. I guarantee that your sleep will not be disturbed. There will be no unnecessary touch. Just be ready to move out every kitchen utensil first thing in the morning. My men will help you. They're hand-picked to ready assistance with the move. And now, as I've said that, I cannot say anything there. And, sir, I request from you a corresponding temperance as I go about my duties.
I would willingly give my last few coins to spirit this very minute, in return for the great pleasure of punching this buffoon hard on the nose. Wait a minute.
This is unheard of! My knuckles itch. You'd better hold me back.
Mr. Royale, you've got a good broad back. A really good hiding might suit you nicely.
That sort of talk is actionable, dear. Women can be prosecuted just as well as anybody else.
I want to kill him.
I'll see you all very soon. God bless you.
And me, damn you! And the man who
Well, brother, am I right? You see this writ? Now do you understand the man's a traitor?
I'm thunderstruck and discombobulated.
I think you're being rather hard on him. This is a confirmation of his goodness, the final proof of his love for his neighbour. He knows that money frequently corrupts, and purely out of charity, he's taken away this threat to your salvation!
Be quiet! How many more times must I tell you?
That's enough. Let's go and discuss the options.
If you were to expose him, surely the contract would be declared null. His treachery would be seen as
It's me, Belair. I'm sorry to impersonate you like this. An urgent danger made me feel obliged to. A very close friend of mine, who's aware of my connection with you for my sake, has breached the confidentiality of the state and passed on information which gives you no choice but to run away. An hour ago, that swine, who for so long has cheated you, denounced you to the king, and, among other accusations, gave him a case belonging to an enemy of the state, whose secret he said you kept, so neglecting your duty as a subject. I don't know the exact crime that you've been accused of, but orders have gone out for your arrest.
Tartuffe has been told to come as well, to help the officer who's been sent to fetch you.
That's how the traitor's trying to reinforce his claim to take over your possessions.
It's true! He really is an evil monster!
Yeah, the slightest hesitation can be fatal. Look, here's 1,000 louis I put you. My carriage is waiting for you at the gate. Don't let's waste any time. This is a thunderbolt. The kind of thing you simply can't escape unless you run. I'll take... I'll take you to a safe place, and I'll stay with you until you got away. Come on.
I don't know how to thank you for this kindness. I have to wait before I can repay you, and I ask God to help me to express one day my true gratitude for this rescue. Goodbye. Take care.
Hurry up! We'll try and do whatever's necessary.
All right. Not quite so fast, my friend. It's not so very far to where you're going. In the name of the king, you're under arrest.
Traitor! You've been saving this to the last. A criminal delivering the death blow. Culmination of all your betrayal.
I am impervious to your insults. I'm trained to be tolerant in the sight of God.
How admirably self-controlled of you.
How insolently he takes the name of God.
I am completely unmoved by your resentment. All I'm attempting to do is my duty.
You think this will enhance your reputation? You believe this is honourable conduct?
Conduct suggested by the power that sent me surely can't help but be exemplary.
Have you forgotten that it was my charity that rescued you from a life of...
No, I am well aware of how you helped me, but my first duty must be to the king. The rightful power of this sacred duty has stifled all the gratitude in my heart. To these commitments I would sacrifice my friends, my family, my wife, or myself.
Oh, imposter! So treacherously clever at making use of what we must respect.
But if this sense of duty which drives you and which you're so proud of is so consuming, how come it held off making its appearance until he caught you molesting his wife?
Yes!
Why didn't you think of accusing him until he felt compelled to throw you out? He's just made you a gift of all his money, and I don't bring this up as a red herring. I just wonder, since you think he's so guilty, how you could condescend to be his heir.
Oh, why don't you put an end to all this whining and be so good as to obey your orders?
Yes, I suppose I've waited far too long. And what you say is a timely reminder. I will obey them. Follow me at once. I'm taking you immediately to prison.
You mean, sir?
Yes, you, sir.
But why to prison?
I don't have to explain myself to you. Calm yourself, sir. You're living in the reign of a king who declared war on deceit. A king whose eyes can see into your heart, whom no impostor's cunning can mislead. The sharp perceptiveness of that great mind sees everything in its proper perspective. He's too intelligent to be swayed by passion or to fall into any kind of excess. He's always paid tribute to real goodness without letting enthusiasm blind him, and his love for the genuine has never closed his mind to the horrors of bad fate. He seems the more effective trap than this man set, who never really stood a chance. His perspicacity discerned at once the wickedness of this man's secret heart. He came to denounce you and betrayed himself by a supremely fitting stroke of justice. He let slip something which allowed the king to identify him as a wanted man, whose long record under another name would fill a book with lists of vicious crimes. His Majesty also despises his wild disloyalty and ingratitude to you, in addition to all the other horrors, and only made me, his subordinate, see how far his shamelessness would go before we made him make full restitution. The king wants me to strip him of all his papers, to break the contract that you signed to give him all that you own. And finally, he pardons the crime your friend exile made you commit as a reward for your support during the troubles, just to demonstrate that he knows the time to put back a favour, and he cherishes remembering the good and deserving to bearing grudges.
Thank God! What a relief!
A happy end. Who would have thought it could turn out this way?
What about this then, traitor?
You know, stop it! Don't stoop to mere abuse. Just let him go, poor wretch, to his unhappy fate, and don't add to the guilt which must be crippling him. Better to hope that this may encourage him to turn gladly to the paths of virtue, to turn against his evil and repent, and cause our great king to temper his justice. Meanwhile, you must go on your knees to him, and show how grateful you are for his lenience.
That's well said, yes. Let's go and kiss his feet and praise him for the goodness of his heart. And that duty acquitted, we must meet another necessary obligation and reward a sincere and generous love by celebrating your wedding, Veneer. My hero.